Okay, so now we're going to have a look at how to graph more things happening with our sine and cosine graph. So just like if you had to graph the absolute value of x plus 2, you would say this is a horizontal shift. This is shifting it to the left. 2, we will be looking at phase shifts to see how to shift our sine and cosine graph around. Or if they said, I would like you to graph the absolute value of x plus 3. Well, that would be a vertical shift up 3. So we're going to look at how vertical shifts and a phase shift is what they call a horizontal shift with trig functions. So that is this. A sine of bx minus c plus d. The plus d is the vertical shift. That's what the D is in both of these cases. This is the vertical shift. It is what it appears to be. Positive means up, negative means down. The A is the same thing it was before. It is the amplitude. The B is the same thing it was before. It is the period shift. Now, when it is in this form, you can't really tell what the phase shift is. So when you factor out the B, when you factor something out, it's like you divide it by it. If you factor out the B, you have an x minus c over b. And whatever this number is here, that is your horizontal shift or your phase shift. That's what we're going to see in all of these cases. So let's just begin. Let's look at what we've got going on here. It says sketch the graph y equals -3 cosine of pi over 2 plus 1 over the indicated interval, -4 pi to 4 pi. So what we have here is y equals a cosine of bx minus c plus d. This is with all of the bells and whistles. What do we think the value of a is? Well, a is -3. And so the amplitude is the absolute value of that. So the amplitude is 3. Okay. Let's have this little discussion right here. X over 2. X over 2 is the same thing as 1/2 times x. That means the same thing. So the value of b is 1/2. So b is 1/2. There is no c. C is 0. So there's no phase shift here. And then D is 1 plus 1. So that means there is a vertical shift and it's up 1. All right. All right. The value of B is 1/2. So the period is going to be 2 pi divided by 1/2, which is a keep, change, flip. 2 pi over 1 times the reciprocal 2 over 1 gives us 4 pi is the period. All right. Now, the spacing is always whatever you calculated the period to be, 4 pi divided by 4. So the spacing will be 4 pi divided by 4, which is pi. That tells us how to mark up our x-axis. There is a vertical shift up 1. Is there a reflection? This time I have a negative, and that is a reflection, so we'll say yes. Now the midline is whatever the vertical shift is. So if there's no vertical shift, y equals 0. If there is a vertical shift, the midline is at 1. Y is 1. All right, so let us begin by marking up our x-axis. So it needs to be in intervals of pi. So I'm going to say this is pi, this is 2 pi, this is 3 pi, this is 4 pi. So you can always go to a graphing calculator or Desmos and throw this in to see what it's going to look like for real, because our little labels, I tend to space things exactly the same, whether it's 1/4 or 1 or whatever. So this is -1 pi, -2 pi, -3 pi, -4 pi. All right, now the amplitude is 3, yes, but we've had this shift up 1. So what I'm going to do is go up to up 1. This is 1, which is my new midline, and I'm going to draw a little line right there. This is where it's going to be the middle of my graph. All right, there. So that means the amplitude is going to go up 3 and down 3 off of this line. So this is 1, 2, 3, which would make that 4, 2, or down 1, 2, 3, which makes this -2, -1. And this is 0. Okay. So that took care of the vertical shift. It's the midline, okay. And the spacing I did. So now all I have to do is say, hey, is this cosine or sine? And it's cosine. And I remember cosine starts high. But if it's reflected, it's going to be the opposite. It's going to start low. So that means it's going to start low here. Okay. And then it's going to continue its pattern. Low, middle. Oh, that's not the middle this time. Sorry. This is the middle. Middle. High up here at 4. Middle. Low. This is one cycle. Oops. Ooh, that looks terrible. Cycle. And then it's going to continue over here. Middle. High. Middle. Low. So that got my little graph on there for that guy. That's how you would handle that. Let's try another one. Let's try y equals -1/2 plus 1/2 sine of 2 pi x. Now, there is a vertical shift and it's -1/2. This time they put the d on this side instead of that side, and that doesn't matter. A plus b is equal to b plus a. You can switch that around. But the vertical shift, this is the d. It's going to be down 1/2. Okay. This is a. B is 2 pi. So here we go. The amplitude is 1/2. It is not negative, so there's no reflection. Okay, the value of B is 2 pi. So the period is 2 pi divided by 2 pi, because this is B, so it's 1. And the spacing is going to be whatever that is divided by 4. So it's 1/4. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me hop back up here. I didn't do the range, did I? The range is from -2 to 4. That's the range. Okay. The midline is whatever the vertical shift is. So it's y is -1/2 for this one. So let me go ahead and draw that on here. Let's see. We'll call this 1, and this will be 1/2. This will be 0, and this will be -1/2. This will be -1. Okay. So I'm gonna put in my new midline right here. There it is. Okay. So I'll put in my x spacing 1/4. So this is 1/4, 1/2, 3/4, 1, and we're supposed to go all the way to 2. So this is 1 1/4, 1 1/2, 7/4, 2, and then we're going to go backwards. So this is -2, -1/4, -1/2, -3/4, -1, -5/4, -3/2, -7/4, -2. Okay. So we say, is this sine or cosine? And it is a sine. That means it starts in the middle. Starts in the middle. But the middle is -1/2 because it got shifted. And then it goes high, middle, low because it wasn't reflected. So how high does it go? It only goes up by 1/2. So 1/2 lands us at the 0. So it starts in the middle and it goes high, and then it middle, and then low, which is at -1, because that's down 1/2, middle, high, middle, low, middle. So this is what that looks like. And then we're going to go backwards, middle, and then you go over, the next spacing is down, and then middle, and then up, and then middle, and then down, and then middle, and then up, and then middle. And so this will look like this. Oh, I went way too far down, didn't I? I was like, is that? No, that's okay. It's going to go down to -1 and 0. So the range of this guy is -1 to 0. So that's a little bit strange, but that is how that looks once we got it shifted down. That's what that guy looks like. All righty. Let's see here. Let's do 2 more. Sketch the graph of y equals 3 sine of 2x plus pi plus 5. All right, there's a lot going on here. Y is equal to a sine of bx minus c plus d. It's got all of this stuff going on. All right, the value of a is 3, the amplitude is 3. The value of b is 2, right? Let me factor out that 2 and see what that looks like. So y equals 3 sine, factor out the 2. Uh-oh, hang on. Of x plus pi over 2 plus 5. That's what we got going on there. All right, so what did that do for us? Well, the value of b didn't change. It's still 2. But what that did is show us our phase shift. And so this is like a horizontal shift. So this is going to go, the phase shift is left pi over 2. Left pi over 2. Okay, was there a vertical shift? Yeah, D is 5, so it's up 5. So the vertical shift or the midline is Y is 5. Y is 5 because it's up 5. I guess I could put up 5 here and Y is 5 for the midline. Up 5. Okay, the period is always 2 pi divided by B. B is, what's B? B is 2. It's right here. So it's 2 pi divided by 2, so that's pi. The spacing is whatever I calculated the period to be, which is pi, divided by 4. That tells me how to mark up my x-axis. All right, is there a reflection? No, none. I'm going to put the range on here in a minute. The vertical shift is up 5. Let's go up 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'll put that on there. All right, that's 5. Now, the amplitude is 3, so that means I'm going to go up 1, 2, 3 higher. So this is 5. This is 6, 7, 8. And I'm going to go down 1, 2, 3. So this is 2. This is the down 3. Okay, so that's my up and down. That's fine. Label your x-axis, pi over 4. Pi over 4. Pi over 2. 3 pi over 4. Pi. 5 pi over 4. 6 pi over 4. 7 pi over 4. 8 pi over 4. All right. And we could go backwards too. This is negative pi. Okay. All right. So we got everything labeled, but instead of starting at 0, we're supposed to start left pi over 2. So I'm going to go to left pi over 2. And so this is B where I start here. So this is where I start instead of at 0. All right. And then I continue my pattern. My pattern for sine is middle, high, middle, low, middle. So instead of starting at 0, my phase shift got left, pi over 2. Instead of starting at y is 0, I start at y is 5 because of the vertical shift. And my period got affected by the value of b, pi over 4, but that's handled with the x-axis. So let's do our pattern. Middle. The next segment puts me at high, which is up here at 8. And then middle. And then low, which is down here at 2. And then middle. This is 1 period. Okay. And then the next one's going to put me high. And then the next one's going to put me middle. And the next one's put me low. And then the next one puts me middle. And the next one puts me high. And the next one puts me middle. I think this is okay. High, middle, low, middle, high. And we can continue back. The next one would put me low. Down here at 2. And the next one would put me in middle. So this is what this fella looks like. What was the range? It was from 2 to 8. Did we have to graph it to figure out the range? No. We could look at this. We said we know it's going to go up and down 3, but it starts at 5. So 5 plus 3 is 8. 5 minus 3 is 2. We could figure out the range that way. All right, let's do one more of these. Let's see. Is this really what I wanted? Apparently, let me see. Yeah, I think I meant to change this. So let me see. I don't know if I changed it. So this is not what I wanted because this 20 is so big. I changed this to this. So if it's not changed on your sheet, you change this. So this will fit on our paper better. Y is equal to -5 sine of 1/2 x plus pi minus 2. So this has got a lot going on with it as well. The amplitude, A is -5, but the absolute value of that is 5. The amplitude is 5. This negative means, yes, there is a reflection. The value of B is 1/2. So the period is 2 pi divided by 1/2. If we do a keep, change, flip, we get that the period is 4 pi. The spacing is always the period, 4 pi divided by 4, so the spacing is pi. Is there a vertical shift? Yeah, it's down to, so the midline is at y is -2. Is there a phase shift? Yes, there is. So to figure out the phase shift, I'm going to factor out the 1/2. When you factor something out, it's like you divided by that. So if I divide 1/2 by 1, I get a 1. If I take pi and I divide it by 1/2, it's a keep, change, flipped, I get 2 pi. And if I'm unsure about that, if that looks weird, if you distribute the 1/2 here, 1/2 times x is 1/2 x. 1/2 times 2 pi is pi. I get the same thing back. So you can double check that way. So we've got the vertical shift. The phase shift then we see is left. Left 2 pi is what the phase shift is, because horizontal shifts are opposite of what they appear to be. All right. Let's see what else. The range. Let's go ahead and figure out the range. All right. The amplitude, we start at -2. That's the midline. So we're going to go up 5 and down 5. So -2 plus 5 is 3. And -2 minus 5 is -7. That's going to be our range. All right, let's try to lay this guy out. Start with your midline. Y is -2, -1, -2. All right, get this guy on here. All right, and so then let's say, what else have we got? Y is -2. We're going to be going up and down 5. So let's see. -2, -3, -4, -5, -6, -7. Then let's go up 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is a 3. Let's cut up our x-axis in pi. So this is pi. 2 pi, 3 pi, 4 pi, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I just decided to go that far, 10 pi. This is going to be -1, -2, -3, -4, -5, -6. So let's see, what else we got to do? I think we're pretty good. This is a sine graph. A sine graph starts in the middle, and the middle is at y equals -2. But the phase shift is to the left 2 up high. So we don't start at 0 here. We start down -2 because of the vertical shift. But we don't start at x is 0. We got phase shifted to the left 2 pi. So this is -pi. This is -2 pi. So this is where we start. And then the pattern goes. Middle, high, middle, low, high, middle, high, middle, low, middle. But because it's reflected, we don't move up first, we move down first. So it goes middle, and then the next move is low. So at -pi, we're down here at -7. And then we're at middle, and then we're at high, and then we're at middle. And then, oops, that's not the middle. Sorry. And then we're at middle. And then we're at low. And then we're at middle. And then we're at high. And then we're at middle. And then we're at low. And then we're at middle. And then we're at high. And then we're at middle. So the high goes here. And if we continued it backwards, this is down, middle, the next one will be high, and the next one will be middle, and the next one will be low, and the next one will be middle. Okay. So this is my crazy looking hand-drawn graph. All right, and it continues on. Oops. So when they say graph 2 cycles of a curve, you get to choose which 2 cycles that you want to do. And see how I did more than 2 cycles? That's okay with me too. As long as everything's labeled, if you want to do over 2 cycles, that works fine. So let me see. If I was grading this, would I count off on anything? I wouldn't, but I might be like, I wish they would have gone ahead and said this is 2 pi, 3 pi, just so I could see things better. So, and this is -7. This is 0, 1, 2. So -1, -2. Okay, I like that pretty good. All right, that is with phase shifts. Let me see how I turn off this little zooms thing. There we go. All right, see you later.